had a roommate in college who every time he would eat cereal in the morning, when he got done with the cereal and there was only milk left in the bowl, he'd pick up the bowl and he'd slurp the rest down. And sometimes when I was eating across the table from him, that would be so annoying to me. I mean, it would just get under my skin. And, it's like people can be so annoying, right? There's those little differences between us can be so annoying, right? Like, think about all the potential for how many things that could be annoying in a relationship. Like, think about it. Smells, noises that we make, the way we walk, the way we talk, the way we sit down, the way that we organize things, the way we even wear our clothes. All these little things can potentially be so annoying to us in relationships. When I was reading the reading this week on Tuesday, it reminded me of that experience in college and with my roommate, and quite frankly, any relationship I've had where those little annoyances crop up or you notice them. It's the reading that we're all familiar with, where Peter comes to Jesus and he's like, Jesus, how many times do we need to forgive our brother and sister when they sin against us? And, in classic Peter fashion, who, thinks he's got the answers, he's like, I'm a generous guy. So like 7 times, right? That's totally enough, right? And of course, Jesus points out how he's wrong, as usual. And Jesus says to him, try 70 times, Peter, which I'm sure Peter's reaction was like, 70 times? How's that even possible? And I think what Peter saw there was that, like, there's all these little things every day that we encounter in people, and we got to be constantly forgiving them and constantly having mercy. And that's a tough job. And it made me think, when I read that passage, what was the difference between those mornings when I woke up with my roommate where him slurping the milk totally got under my skin, and in a way it was kind of almost suffocating, like it made me frustrated maybe with him, and what was and versus the mornings where I woke up and I was sitting with him and that wasn't annoying to me at all, and I totally overlooked it, or I didn't even notice it. Like, what's the difference between the mornings I was merciful about that and the mornings where it got under my skin? Have you ever been in a really small room where the music is just blaring? Like, it's so loud that you can't even hear yourself think. It's kind of suffocating, right? It's like, how do I get out of here? Now, if you were to take that same song and you were playing at the same volume, but you were in a larger room, what a difference it would be, right? Like, it could be even enjoyable. Well, what's the difference between that experience and the former experience? Space, right? There's more space. And I think that's how we can be more merciful about these annoyances or these grievances that are in our relationships, where we see the differences between each other, right? We need space. Well, how do we create space in relationships? Well, there's this thing that marriage counselors talk about called emotional bank account. And I think it can apply to any relationship, friendships, family, spouses, girlfriend, boyfriend, anyone. And basically, the principle behind it is that all day long, there's little things that are happening that make us grateful for people in our lives or make us resentful, right? And the way that people respond to us, they call those bids, the way they respond to us or the way we respond to them. And the more bids that we respond to positively or that they respond to us positively, the more it builds up our emotional bank account, which is to say, the more we notice how we're grateful for people in our lives, the more we're going to have a full emotional bank account. And the reality is that when we have a low emotional bank account, I think we're more likely to let those little annoyances, those little differences in people get under our skin and quite frankly, suffocate us and make us feel like we're in that room with the volume, the music blaring, and we're just like, it's so suffocating. But, if we're grateful and we notice all the things we're grateful for in our relationships, our emotional bank account is high. And suddenly, those annoyances, they don't even bother us. We don't even notice them, right? And I think that's what we're called to learn in this passage about that Peter and Jesus have in this interaction. I think every day we encounter these things, and we're called to be merciful. That's what Jesus says to us. We're called to be merciful. And the way that we can do that is by recognizing how we're grateful for others in our lives. If you're having difficulty and wondering how you can be merciful in your life, maybe you can try gratitude a little bit more. I know for me, that's something I've been looking at, and it helps me build up my emotional bank account so that even if somebody's slurping their milk, I can be merciful towards them.